that was what Legacy were going to take away. This leaves a couple of champions open, specifically Orianna. Not a power pick, but a safe pick at least for Moya.
Yeah, and it's going to be Fortnite actually banning away that Zed as well before seeing the ban of the Orianna. And now Fortnite with a couple of picks here as the Rek'Sai is what's going to get locked in from Carbon.
I mean, it's a different type of jungle, a lot more earlier pressure. Of course, still very good in the late game with the ability to split push. You can even build damage on, which of course we've
probably what Carbon
has done, and we have seen previously today. So Zahi was doing his best Carbon impression with the Trinity Force Rek'Sai earlier in the day. Different champion.
Would you call him a Carbon copy?
You might.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't be terrible. Naya is hovering his comfort pick, though, in the Amumu.
It's so exciting to see Amumu back in the meta. Somewhere Cloud Templar is smiling at this game. Noted Amumu lover. Double green champions actually being hovered.
We'll see where we're going to go like full green.
Thresh has been a very popular pick in the OPL. Has seen a lot of power. I always love pick potential because it opens up mid-game options. But there's a lot of champions left, and we'll have to see whether they do settle on this Amumu.
Yeah, that's actually going to be the Morgana locked in, so not necessarily in that support role. If they were to play the Morgana support, it will be the first time we've seen Zelda on that champion in the OPL.
So we'll have to wait and see. It could be a mid lane, could be a top lane. Morgana's one of the most flexible champions in the league at the moment. One thing I want to draw your attention to, this should be, at least on paper, a Warrior versus Cinderhawk jungle matchup. So we might see Rek'Sai path more aggressively, try and take prey of Naya. And I think after his last performance, as you mentioned, played excellent Amumu, but died to his jungle. You already know that he'll push the limits and fall very low in health in the jungle, and that could be an easy kill pickup and just set that Amumu behind so much.
Yeah, well, it's true, and with the fact that Rek'Sai, she's just so incredibly sustainable in that jungle as well, it could be an option as Ejim, he's back on the cow, and we've got a very exciting game on our hands, ladies and gentlemen.
And there's actually an excellent article over at oce.lolesports.com. No time to have the graphic up. Sorry, production team. But there's an excellent article, an interview with Ejim, where he talks about the fact that Alistar's maybe his most signature champion, despite not necessarily a champion he plays a lot. He gets his one appearance in the OPL this season.
That was a beautiful plug.
Got to plug when you got to plug.
Absolutely wonderful. But Ezreal's going to be locked in here as well. Theoretically alongside the Alistar, but we have seen Ezreal's make an appearance in that mid lane as well. That could be an option. Of course, Ezreal jungle also quite strong. Probably not going to be the option here as Fortnite. They're hovering some interesting picks here. We'll see what they do.
They do have a penchant to lock them in.
They do.
If any team is going to lock in interesting picks, it's going to be Fortnite.
Yeah, and this is Moya without that many options here at the moment. CNJ looking at going for a Jinx here as well as the switcheroos are coming through for Fortnite. They are confusing me a lot, but Lux is going to be locked in for Moya, and it is going to be CNJ on the Caitlyn.
But you can see like a lot of second guessing. That was a last second switch over to Caitlyn at the end of the selection timer.
Yeah.
Caitlyn against Alistar, at least she has a lot of range, so she can navigate away from the headbutt pulverize combo at least early into the game. But the Lux, not blind pick necessarily. There's no reason they have to go with this Ezreal middle lane, but that's what's at least being considered for Legacy.
Yeah, but if Tallywacker was to lock in Vayne at this stage, isn't that probably one of the worst possible champions to take into a Caitlyn?
I mean, definitely. You do suffer a lot. Of course, Vayne does damage in 550 range or less, so you take a lot of extra auto attacks from the Caitlyn. Alistar Vayne, though, one of the strongest Vayne lanes. There's a lot of kill potential. If you ever hit level 2 first and just smash them into the wall and get that mini stun, you can do a lot of work. But this is what I was alluding to. They weren't locked in to necessarily playing Ezreal in the mid lane. Lux as a blind pick is always risky, and Diana an excellent champion to deal with Lux.
And Diana just seen such a resurgence in play here as well just recently. And I mean, Moya, if he doesn't land every single light binding onto Choo Choo's, you have to think that he could just be dead every time.
That's what I alluded to when Swiffer locked in Diana for the Chiefs. He actually picked that champion up very recently and then saw its potential. So strong against both control mages and other assassins. Lux, the definition of a control mage. In the early laning phase, you might watch it and see Lux do competitively in CS. No kill pressure coming from a pre-6, pre-ultimate Diana, but this lane, it gets so difficult from Lux from level 6 onwards.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very scary. Fortnite, though, thinking about their final option is going to be locking in potentially that Morgana for the support role, and Kulo taking the Aurelia to the top lane.
Doing his best Carlos's God impression, we hope.
Precisely, and Carlos's God, definitely a fantastic Aurelia player. Picked up one of the Fortnite victories on that champion as well, and was in fact against the Chiefs. So no slouch is that guy's Aurelia. We'll see whether Kulo can, you know, carry his mantle, so to speak.
And just a lot of exciting picks across the board from Legacy. Another new champion in the Rumble coming out from Minky Well. Not one of his notable champions in the past, at least as much as I remember.
No, well, it's true.
The Alistair coming through. That's the only real lockdown CC they have for the Equalizer. Alistair on Legacy. It's one of the trademark picks, even if Ejim won't admit it. And it's still very, very exciting.
Well, yeah, but they do have quite a lot of lockdown. That Moonfall coming through from Diana can pull people back onto that one, but my goodness, there it is. There's the plug, ladies and gentlemen. Go and read that article on Ejim. And that is actually going to be our producer. Just pointed Papa Smithy, giving him a good old thumbs up. You did good, kid.
It's a good website.
You did good. It is a fantastic website, actually. I spend a lot of my time there. But, oh, man, now I'm joining in. This is so bad. I'm such a conformist.
Let's back away from the plugs for a second.
Oh, yeah, says the plug lord himself.
I know when to disengage, kite away from the problems.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm so bad in solo queue as well. I don't have very good disengage. My orb walking, definitely not good, especially when it comes to a plug. But let's just stop talking about it. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you're thinking about these first dragons. Make sure you're getting pictures of them and preparing to send them in after this game. Of course, the first 5 legit entries are going to be able to pick up 600 RP. So why not just grab some pictures of those first dragons and send them in? Of course, 2 pictures. We want one from the last game and one from this game coming up. So make sure that you guys are ready to get some snaps.
And worth noting, of course, that we gave viewers a second chance with the post-game replay of the first dragon if you missed it.
Yep, true.
In this situation, it's the first 5 people to tweet in. So realistically, if you don't snap it the first time it happens, you might miss out on that excellent 600 RP prize.
Yeah, you got to snap it up. So many different ways, Papa Smithy. Yeah, and look, we can't even do it, though. So frustrating.
I'm very disappointed in you, Atlas. You did not find the segue to the snap trap.
Oh, my goodness. We could have gone into bottom lane mechanics. Can we talk about bottom lane mechanics anyway?
Okay, let's pretend that you got this segue.
Oh, okay. Let's go with it. Your little snap trap.
I mean, the bot lane is going to be difficult. You don't want necessarily to have Ezreal in a 2v2 lane. Ezreal, Alistair, not a lot of synergy there either. Maybe at level 6, Headbutt Pulverize. If they're away from the minion wave, that 350 damage, True Shot Barrage might be relevant in terms of burst, but not really a very bursty champion as Ezreal apart from that ultimate. And it's a 550 range against, the massive range coming through from Caitlyn. So they haven't picked for the laning phase, but they've got so many advantages in the mid lane. Lux is already an immovable control mage. Now has to deal with the potential coming through of the Flash Unburrow, and then after 6, the Lunar Rush into the Moonfall.
Yeah.
So much kill pressure for Diana Rek'Sai. It's all on Carbon, I think, to set up all these advantages in the mid lane. It's going to be a difficult first 6 levels, but after that, it's going to be looking excellent for Diana.
Yeah, but being on this Rek'Sai as well is going to be very useful for Carbon. Of course, you have all of the tools that you're going to use in a gank scenario from sort of level 3 onwards. So Carbon, we're probably looking at to see him move around this map as quickly as he can.
And what I really want to see from Legacy once again is a lane swap. You might wonder why, just because opting into a lane swap with Rumble against Irelia, you definitely prefer Irelia in a lane swap to Rumble. The Rumble can navigate lane swaps fine. But if you get level 2 on that Alistair, you start the roaming pressure of Alistair into the mid lane onto a Lux means that she will have to position so defensively the moment she sees Alistair even threatening to come to the mid lane. So of course, lane swaps open up time for supports to just impact the map. And Alistair, so much CC, even the potential to push her away from turret from level 2 onwards, could be enough to open up kill pressure very early in this game.
Yeah, well, it's true. And we saw the fact that T-Gun from Immunity was using this roaming support tactic to fantastic effect. And if you haven't seen Ejim's Alistair yet, ladies and gentlemen, you are definitely in for a treat. And I know the game hasn't happened yet, but it's just sight to behold. He is brilliant on that champion, and we'll see whether he is going to be able to get it started very early on.
Yeah, call back to the 2014 International Wildcard where he put an excellent performance on the Alistair. I mean, T-Gun, he showed how important he found the early level 1 runs when he was just poking into mid lane as Janna of all people. Just get a couple of auto attacks, a bit of harass, a bit of old Nunu jungle mechanics there. Throw in your snowball and go off to your lane. Because again, you're not needed. As long as your laner is in position to initiate the freeze, then you're just kind of extra experience when it comes to the 1v1 or the 1v0 situation. So just so much time to roam. And Alistair, as we mentioned, from level 2 onwards, he has a mini Malphite ult, which tells you, wants to be doing some roaming.
Yeah, well, it's true. is the thing that Legacy are going to worry about in the fact that they have only one range champion, and it's Ezreal, who doesn't have that much range anyway. Is their siege just going to be non-existent?
So look, I'm tempted to say that initial point, but I mean, Legacy have already proved me wrong with using a Z comp against a Karthus by navigating in smart rotations. The one thing you can say is, yes, they have very, very poor siege in a 5v5 situation, but Diana does so much damn turret damage with her Moon Silver Blade passive. And you look down the lineup, especially if they can hold behind the Aurelia, you just navigate her to those empty lanes, smash down with a split push. I think if they're smart and play around their weaknesses, which they've already shown is one of the strengths of their gameplay, their veteran gameplay came into performance against the Direwolves. They do the same thing again, it'll be fine. So they're looking for picks before they try to siege, absolutely, but their turret damage is good enough to make up for the lack of ranged auto attackers.
Yeah, so once they get some time with a turret, they're definitely going to be able to take it down. And is this going to be yet another game where Choo-Choo's is going to be going for this sort of constant split push with the Diana, just with the fact that she can just do so much work on these turrets?
I mean, you have to really appreciate that they also have a Lux and an Amumu. So they have a very cooldown-centric duo that definitely doesn't do as well when they're behind. So rotational play really helps against Lux and Amumu, because Lux and all control mages, the best time to pick them off was on display in the last Legacy versus Fortnite game, is when they tried to rotate an Orianna and got picked off by a Syndra. Diana can do just the same thing, except she has excellent split pushing options compared to a Syndra. So again, if you can ever force the Lux and the Amumu to be reactionary, predictable in their pathing, get that excellent warding down like Ejim was able to do in that last game, you should be able to take advantage and take this game.
Yeah, well, we'll see if they can, ladies and gentlemen, as we do hop onto the Rift with Legacy taking on Fortnite for our final OPL game of the night. Fortnite trying to get to a tiebreaker opportunity with Sudden Fear, and Legacy looking to stop them in their tracks and force them into that 7th position.
Just excellent to see the trademark picks like Ejim's Alistar. Again, he tries to tell you differently, but he's an excellent Alistar player. Always brings something different to the games. I believe it's our first Alistar of the split in the last possible game.
I know. Thank goodness he managed to bring it in. His 7th support champion for the split thus far. And thank goodness he is going to be playing it here as well as Carbon. Getting some very deep vision here with Minky Wells. Choo-Choo's going to get caught by a light binding. Takes about 150 health and damage, but manages to give it back to Moya here just as well. I'm
very happy to see that Choo-Choo's actually started with the Flask, because in a ranged versus melee matchup, you're going to take a lot of auto attacks from Moya. Has a good auto attack animation, has good range, as does the Lux. So between the harass you're going to take from the incidental ease and just the auto attacks, you need that extra sustain more than necessarily the first Doran ring. So good first purchase just to navigate the laning phase. That's all Choo-Choo's is looking to do. Same point I made about Swiffer in on Diana the previous time we saw this champion. Navigate the laning phase, because from level 6 onwards, things look great for Diana.
Oh, they certainly do. And there's also the fact that Diana goes through a lot of mana here as well, throwing out those Crescent Strikes over and over again.
So,
if she's forced to farm from range, of course. If you're doing very, very well in the lane, you can just auto-attack and zone out your opponent.
So the lane swap is on, as we can see. Alistar, Ezreal opting towards the top. Don't want that 2v2 matchup. We already mentioned the 2v2 matchup is awkward. It gets better around level 6, so why not get your first item timing, then rotate to get Dragon Control later in the game. So lane swap initiated by Legacy. They were forced into this situation after the Lux pickup. They wanted to go for a different mid, so it makes a lot of sense.
And as you can see, there might be a little bit of a gank squad heading towards this mid lane here as well. Minkuel's coming around with Ejim here at the same time. Nice light binding from Moya, who does still have the flash. The flash pulverized, though, into the headbutt onto Moya. It actually gave Ejim the level 2, and that's going to secure first blood. Beautiful strategic play from Legacy.
Yeah, well spotted. Gave him solo Gromp experience so he could get the level 2. Lovely rotation from Legacy. Surprising to see this sort of strategic play shown pre-playoffs. That could have been a massive use case in playoffs, but using the Alistar so well. So we see the replay coming through. I didn't even know the Alistar was level 2. That's why he still went for the aggressive move after being lightbound. It's because you can open up that distance. That's one of the unique things about Alistar, opening up 650 range, I believe, on that headbutt. Nowhere for Lux to go, even if she flashed.
Yeah, and that was without using flash here as well. Moya just knew that he was most definitely dead. As Fortnite now going to position towards this top side. Teleworker is going to miss out on a cannon creep. So that's working out here for Fortnite. And this wave is going to crash into the turret here as well. So Kulo able to pick up some of this farm. Naya now towards this top side, trying to lend a hand. And we'll see whether Fortnite can come back from this one. Oh, Naya, be careful! Those Krogs, very, very dangerous.
So this was the site of his last death, falling low.
Oh, is he going to be able to do it? Oh, 1v1s, or 1v2s, and is successful. Naya nails it against the Krogs.
I mean, that tells you a lot about Amumu's jungle path. The level 4, it feels good, but man, it's hard to get to.
Oh, yeah, Kulo able to Blade Surge around, pick up these last hits with that Black Shield on as well. Oh, nice dodge out of the way from both Legacy members as that Dark Binding does pick the gap between them. Now in a pseudo 2v2 situation, are definitely doing okay.
And after all that pressure, mid, we talked about the fact that Lux wins this lane matchup early. After dying so early, still has flash but no summoner heal. Has to respect Chuchus to the point where Chuchus opened up a 9 CS advantage in a melee versus range matchup. Some of that, of course, is because he hasn't gone to shop necessarily, so he hasn't banked his advantage, sitting on 1,200 gold. But the result is Diana getting through those awkward levels and getting dangerously close to level 6.
Yeah, level 5 very, very close here, halfway through that one is Carbon. He's going to find Naya here as well. He does have the Skirmishing Saber as well. He's doing a whole lot of damage to Amumu. There's Chuchus coming around as well as Naya looking to possibly flash over this wall. He does make it out of there, of course. No Lunar Rush available, but Carbon coming around looking for the kill onto the Amumu, but can't quite make it in. And he's just going to regen a little bit with that burrow up, and Legacy continue to be aggressive at all places on this map. Minkiewell actually forced a flash into the enemy side of the jungle as C&J got very aggressive, zoning out the Rumble, and he's going to be okay here as well. But Minkiewell has to be careful.
We mentioned that we really wanted to see Legacy lane swap. I didn't actually foresee the level 2 early gank, which was wonderful. It wasn't even necessarily the roam, it was just the first very smart strategic adaptation coming through from Legacy, who have already shown today that they are a strategic team to be respected with their smart play. See a bit more trading coming on, smart use of the headbutts, get Zelda away and remove any chance of a follow-up Dark Binding.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad use of the Equilibrium Strike here as well from Kulo. Held onto it, made sure that he could lock down a stun here onto Tallywhacker, but you can see very, very low now on this Aurelia.
I mean, the greater point I wanted to get, though, is that the result is the 1v1 matchup is Caitlyn versus Rumble, which is a very painful matchup for a melee champion against the longest range regular auto attack in the game. So, understandably, definitely a CS advantage for Kulo in this 2v2 lane up top.
Oh, most definitely. Chuchus is going to be able to go back and get the makings of his Abyssal Scepter already, though. And with a CS advantage as a melee versus range, he's going to be very, very happy. And you have to talk about the fact that Chuchus has had a fantastic night just in general. He's been playing beautifully.
And after what has been kind of a disappointing season for him, you'd have to say, hasn't got those big KDAs. He's played a lot of champions, but he hasn't really had any must-ban champions. But he's starting to develop those tonight.
Yeah, and, you know, his LeBlanc has been great throughout the season as well. That is definitely something to talk about, but it hasn't been to the sort of extent that we've seen this evening, and we'll see whether he can carry that through on his Diana. Now with the Lunar Rush available, really wants to get around and get things going on this map. I
mean, look, he's got the makings of Abyssal Scepter. Abyssal Scepter scales so many times with Diana. It's such a powerful pickup. It even gives her impressive wave clear because, of course, you reduce the magic resistance of those creeps. It means your Crescent Strike, which doesn't have the highest base damage, does give you comparable wave clear to a Lux. So that can be really, really powerful. And you can see with the aggressive path, and they're looking for a dive up top.
Yeah, looking to try and get in there. Of course, Ejim not quite level 6 yet. Doesn't quite have the ultimate to stop a lot of that damage. Zaldo in a lot of trouble, though. There's the Moonfall. That Black Shield lasted for about half a second as Kulo, he's going to get ignited. Tallywhacker picks up the kill as the dive was successful. Chuchus, he picks up the kill through an exhaust here as well. And Naya is taking a grump.
Now, Moya's actually rotated top, has level 6, wants to get a bit of burst damage, but not enough to be able to pick up any kills.
Yeah, is going to protect this turret, though, and is that going to be enough here, Papa Smithy?
I mean, look, the ultimate will, with the Lucian Singularity, be able to take down a wave, but is respecting the pressure of the Alistair who's looking for a flank.
Yeah, there's the headshot to come through here as well. Oh my goodness, the ace in the hole comes out. Minkiewell does eventually die, but he tries to turn it around. It was a valiant effort there on the bottom side, but the turret falls in the top lane. Moya unable to protect that one completely, and not quite enough on the True Shot Barrage.
Not quite enough on the tanky Naya, but the important thing to note about bottom lane is that Minkiewell got a huge burst onto CNJ, got into melee range, overheated with the flame sword. So CNJ isn't in a position to answer any turret damage. In fact, has had to be so defensive in this bottom lane, so they cannot answer turret damage. In fact, the bottom turret's still at over 90% health compared to what is now a dead top turret.
Yeah, and Tallywhacker actually went back and picked up a full Manamune here as well, so he's going to get that stacking very, very quickly, of course, off his auto attacks as well, which is very important. And is that going to make up for the fact that he didn't manage to pick up that early tier?
I think it absolutely will, Atlas. I mean, to be fair, an early tier would be around the 5-6 minute mark. That's a completed Manamune at 8 minutes. So efficiently stacking.
Pretty ridiculous.
It's going to be probably like 19 to 20 minute Manamune. Almost like the old days when the stacking was just that much higher on that item. Saw a few nerfs about a year and a half ago, but it's going to be a very early Mirror Mana, and that's when the poke from Legacy will just be crazy, even though it's just a one-man poke show with the Ezreal.
Yeah, well, it's true, and of course, if you've only got one form of ranged damage, you probably want to augment that as much as possible because he's got a lot of resting on his shoulders, does Tallywacker. Now going to move towards this bottom side. It looks like the Dragon is going to be in the minds of Legacy. Of course, they managed to take that one very, very quickly in the last matchup, but not going to be happening this time around with a couple of extra members in the top side. And finally, things are going to reset to a more standard Summoner's Rift.
Interesting to see that Rek'Sai might actually be going for the Cinderhulk rather than necessarily the Warrior enchant. Warrior is such an important one-item power spike for champions like Lee Sin, like Rek'Sai. Your clear is already so fast, you don't really need the Cinderhulk, but it's such an efficient item that perhaps the reason why they've gone with this purchase, maybe still going to build the Trinity Force and just wants a bit of early health.
Yeah, maybe he just wants the extra tankiness from the jungle item as opposed to the other way around.
But it's definitely not pigeonholing him into full tank. There's still that potential of the Snowball Trinity Force.
Oh, I still have no doubt that he's building a Trinity Force. There's no doubt in my mind that he's going to pick up that item. Tallywacker getting a lot of damage down. There's a beautiful headbutt pulverize coming through from Ejim now as well. But Tallywacker gets caught by the Dark Binding. C&J takes most of his health from that True Shot right. Oh my goodness. Ace in the hole. Ejim just puts his back to it, doesn't mind at all. There's actually the flash headbutt pulverize as well. Tallywacker dies. C&J falls down so quickly. Oh my goodness, that was ridiculous. Cooler now in a whole lot of trouble as well. Moya getting a lot of damage down with that final spark. Forced to use the flash. Minky well taken down slow. Naya as well coming in with massive extra damage through from that one. Choo Choo's completely out of mana, and there is so much going on all across this map. And I think I said that Tallywacker died in the bottom lane, but he didn't, of course. They managed to pick up a double kill.
On the one side, Tallywacker's play was opened up by a magnificent flash headbutt pulverize. That's deceptively difficult to do, but not if you're Ejim. Shades of international wildcards there. But then you just go to the top lane. It's, oh, the turret dive.
Yes, and that is going to be Choo Choo's.
The outplays upon outplays Atlas. To be able to pick up those 2 kills with smart juking around the brush was just excellent play from Fauna, undone a bit by Choo Choo's, using his own flash to pick up an answering kill.
Yeah, and that is going to end up being a 3,000 gold lead now for Legacy, who've picked up 2 turrets. So, of course, the global gold being massively in their favor. Naya, though, now starting to power up, is going towards what looks like a Warden's Mail is his next option. You think that the Randuin's Omen the most likely purchase, just so that it can synergize with that Cinderhulk and make this Amumu as tanky as possible.
You'd have to imagine. So he's already bought very early double cloth armor, so it could be the Frozen Heart, could be Randuin's. Cooldown reduction is a good stat on Amumu as well, so it's worth considering. There's the bandage.
Yeah, bandage onto Ejim here as well. A beautiful double pulverize, as easy as you like from Ejim, but the Dark Binding, doesn't quite find its mark. C&J, though, getting a lot of damage down. Loosen Singularity is going to slow him down just a little bit. That's, in fact, the ultimate pop from Zaldo. Ejim, not a lot he could do, but that's 4 members to take down the support.
Importantly, wasn't actually the Amumu ult. It wasn't even available as in top. We see a bit of trading back and forth between these top laners. The item times are looking really scary for Legacy, you'd have to say. They've had firm control of this game, as confirmed by the gold and the 2 turrets to 0.
Yeah, and it's the fact that all of their kills are going on their carries here, as well as Kulo's taking so much damage from Choo Choo's, but they're turning it around. Dark Binding doesn't find its mark. The Blade Surge there, as well as Choo Choo's trying to get around the Lunar Rush wasn't quite enough to save his life, and the gank squad that is Fortnite are doing some work.
Yeah, the 5-man death squad, which wouldn't look out of place in the LPL, has been very, very powerful from Fortnite. They pick up 2 kills. They're trying to get some turret damage. Only a melee champion to stop them. And we already mentioned not a lot of range damage, but oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's going to be the Flash Pulverize in there as well. Oh my goodness, so much knock-up. There's the Equalizer to come down as well, as Minky Well makes his presence known. Naya with no mana at all. C&J trying to kite backwards. and Fortnite, they're going to be foiled in their siege.
I mean, their execution this game, Legacy, has been out of this world. So wonderful with the headbutt pulverize. You wonder why they don't play a lot of Alistar when they can execute on those engages with pinpoint accuracy.
Yeah, this is Nejim without his flash here as well. No vision available on this Dragon as Legacy are going to be able to take down the first one here. It looks with no response. Fortnite unable to do anything, but man, both of these teams able to make play after play. It seems to be rocking backwards and forwards, but it's Legacy who have the advantage.
I mean, they're picking up the CS. That's the big difference. They're powering down CS. Lux as an immovable control mage. And what has been an unorganized game, we're talking about a level 2 gank coming through from the Alistar in the mid lane, is behind significantly in CS. If Lux is behind in her item timings, she already has to hit all her skill shots to be able to do comparable burst damage to other burst mages. And if you don't have the AP to back up those skill shots, the risk-reward for a Lux definitely falls off. So Lux, unless she manages to get some team fight impact, and of course can get so many shields like a Janna to get assists in a fight.
Yeah, true.
At this point, 0-3-3, danger of Moya repeating some of his Orianna performances and having the game kind of play around him.
Yep, and Carbon stole away the blue buff there as well, so Choo Choo's probably going to get a little bit upset with his jungler. But CNJ able to clear out this top wave at the same time.
There's lots of mid-game power troughs coming through between the Lux and Caitlyn. You know, Caitlyn still good in sieging, so of course will be relevant if they're rotating to get out of turrets. But given the fact that Legacy have been very on point with warding at this point, the wards are down, but they showed a warding masterclass against the Direwolves. If you're never able to get in a position to take these turrets down with the Caitlyn, you have that mid-game lull. Irelia will have a decent spike with Trinity Force, but we're talking about double magic penetration Rumble. This Diana already massive with a lot of magic resist to get lots of brawly fights down. And Taliwaka moving towards his second item, whether it's a Iceborne Gauntlet or it's a Trinity Force, we're yet to know. With the second Mana Crystal, probably going to be the Iceborne Gauntlet for just a bit more control. And it's completed now to confirm that. The mid-game certainly looking excellent for Legacy. They can push whatever they want.
Yeah, Carbon actually going to get caught here as well by everything as Fortnite try and get aggressive. Moya's just going to get headbutted over the wall here as well as he flashes onto the equalizer. Nothing he can do. Curse of the Sad Mummy comes through, gets a lot of lockdown as Zeldo's trying to get the ult off, but a double kill from Minky Well, and Carbon picks up the exit kill under Zeldo as well. Legacy just looking so strong.
Yeah, picks upon picks, and here's another.
Oh my goodness, CNJ caught in transition, forced to use that flash to try and get out of there as well as the Transcendent Blades coming down from Kulo. He's trying to help out, but nothing you can do when Ejim's playing Alistar.
Yeah, 1-1-9, 10 out of 12 kill participation. The flash over to headbutt the Lux outside of safety was just majestic from the Alistar. Cheeky little laugh, because he deserves it, to be honest. And they take out the outer turret. That's 3 outer turrets down for Legacy.
And why don't they play Alistar all the time?
I just asked that, Atlas. It's a good question.
It's really silly.
There are ways to play against an Alistar. If he stays in lane, he really struggles. Let's watch a replay.
Is there a way to play against this?
Wait for the majestic flash pulverize into headbutt. Knowing the range is so well. Nowhere for Moya to go. Has to blow a flash, but there's all their friends. They're so great on pulling the trigger. They know. The thing about Alistar is you can't just pick him up and sub him in for another support because your team needs to understand his potential. Has so much playmaking potential, and Legacy very practiced with him. Maybe scrimming with it recently because damn, it's on point.
It is certainly on point, and Ejim just looks so incredibly comfortable on that champion as Kulo's going to clear out some minions here as well. And one sort of unsung hero in this game is Minky Well, and just all of the damage he's been doing. That last equalizer was stunning.
I mean, his equalizers have been on point, but he's been getting in range of these overheating flame spitters multiple times, and was also the MVP in bottom lane when, even though he fell down, he was able to push CNJ to the point where they could never punish this bottom lane turret. Caitlyn, in a matchup against Rumble, should theoretically be taking an early turret, but the bottom lane turret is still very, very healthy from just the laning prowess of Rumble against a Caitlyn.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. And Legacy, as a team of 4 melee champions and an Ezreal against a Caitlyn, are 3 turrets in the lead. Kulo going aggressive here, but Taliwaka, he can just kite for days.
I mean, the early game should have been devastating for Fortnite against Legacy, but there's the bandage.
Yeah, Naya looking to go in, but Ejim again with another headbutt pulverize. All of the knockups to come through. Final spark from Moya is just going to do nothing, and he's forced to watch the rest of his team die. Curse of the Sad Mummy to try and disengage, but he's going the wrong direction. Taliwaka pays a visit to the mid lane and picks himself up a kill, and that was close to an ace very early in this game.
The only thing that prevented a perfect ace was, of course, the fact that Aurelia was just split pushing down the bottom wave, could use the teleport defensively to answer the minion waves, pick them up, and Legacy, they don't have a minion wave of their own to get turret damage, but there's one coming soon.
Yep, Kulo unable to have his teleports, his back, stopped by Minky Whale, but that is going to mean the Legacy pick up an inner turret here as well, making it 4 turrets to nothing, 1 dragon to nothing, and close to a 10,000 gold lead at 19 minutes into this game, and Legacy just looking so strong.
And we mentioned the power of the roaming Alice. That's why I said, okay, Legacy, go for that lane swap. The laning phase not abysmal, but it's not ideal for Ezreal. Opt into the lane swap. It didn't foresee, as I mentioned, the Gromp being passed over. The cute level 2. Fortnite have never come back from that. That has set them back so far behind, specifically Moya. 40 CS behind in a ranged versus melee matchup. This Lux going to struggle to be irrelevant at any point in this game.
Yeah, and 5-1-4 now for Choo Choos as well. Ridiculous scoreline. Almost has the Zhonya's Hourglass completed, and that is going to be 2 completed items in 500 gold to not even completed boots and an Athene's.
And you have to be so excited as a Legacy fan. That's not just because you see that Alistair, which always means good things for Legacy, but the more important fact, Choo Choos is here to play. Just in time for playoffs. Who's playing himself into form but Choo Choos? And now the Dire Wolves are going to be looking over their shoulder because Choo Choos is looking formidable.
Yeah, and Legacy have just always shown themselves as these playoffs players as well, and especially now with Minky Whale back on the lineup as well. That guy fantastic for morale, making sure that in these difficult best-of-5 situations that he gets his team in the right headspace. And Legacy at the moment definitely looking like they are in the right spot as they're trying to look for an engage here as well. Carbon wants the Unburrow, finds it onto Kulo here as well. Tallywacker doesn't quite find the Mystic Shot, and Naya doesn't want to be forced to use his ultimate too early. Doesn't actually have it available. There's the headbutt onto both of the carries here as well. Look at the disgusting AoE as Choo Choos makes his way into the backline. Zaldo gets moonfold. Naya, oh my goodness, he must be very upset. Just gets burnt to the ground, and Kulo running away from the jungler here as Carbon just wants to get another Unburrow onto him. And the Aurelia, I have to think, might be falling down at some point. That's a lot of tunnels in the mid lane, Carbon. You got to be very careful as the Prey Seeker comes down. There's the Skirmisher's Saber, does manage to get that burrow available, doesn't quite find the Unburrow. And can someone just do something? Yep. That's going to be the surrender to save Kulo's life, you have to think. And Fortnite with a 20-minute surrender. Legacy just looking so strong. Legacy
turn it on in the last game of the season, their last game and our last regular game of the season. Amazing performance by Legacy. They just add Alice to the lineup. It's just like adding water, and it just does amazing things. Legacy, man, you have to be worrying for the Dire Wolves because suddenly Legacy look like a formidable force for this semi-final match.
Yeah, and ban Alistair, please, because this Ejim's Alistair is so strong. And let's have a look at the Alistair highlight reel as we go into a replay.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, any team fight you chose, any skirmish is going to be an Alistair highlight reel.
I was pretty confident.
So we're going to wait for this, and it's, I believe, going to be the sneaky flash headbutt over onto the Lux. Yeah. So we'll roll the tape. Alistair can do things that no other champion can do, especially from the support role. And moving someone over that fat wall there is such a relevant thing. As you mentioned, the equalizer, where is Lux to go? There's nothing to do. Naya has to use the ult basically in frustration. This is all happening under a turret. Minky Whale, his management of the heat was actually relevant as well there. Over into the danger zone and doing all that damage to the backline, taking down the Morgana. Legacy just team fought so well and played so well around a difficult setup champion in Alistair. Not like that difficult if you have Ejim on your team.
Yeah, beautiful play from Legacy. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the OPL concluded. Let's have a look at the results from today, though, as we head into the semi-finals. Immunity managing to take down the Dire Wolves in a brilliant performance, followed by Fortnite allowing Dire Wolves to manage to pick up a victory.
Absolutely. Legacy took down Immunity. Then it was a double dose for Legacy fans. They took down Fortnite as well. And to confirm, as Atlas pointed out, no tiebreakers despite all the possible machinations that came through. We're concluded.
We are actually concluded. It's a little bit upsetting. I'd prefer to be casting more League of Legends, but it is going to mean that Immunity did 1-1, which is definitely fantastic. But ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the semi-finals, which is coming up very, very soon. The Dire Wolves confirmed to be playing against Legacy on April 1st. That is this Wednesday. And
2 days' time.
2 days' time. And Chiefs taking on Immunity the day after on April 2nd. These are going to be massive matches. And I just can't wait to see, because I actually don't know what is going to happen at all. I have it's just going to be insane.
They're titanic tussles as you put forward.
Oh,
These are
brilliant
teams
alliteration.
in form as well. Immunity have looked good, 1-1, but they're winning when they need to. Alistair coming out for a legacy always means good things. Choo Choo's in particular going off today. Going to be so confident on Thursday when he comes in. Man, it's looking good in the OPL.
Oh, it most certainly is. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for us tonight. Of course, on behalf of myself, Pastry Time, Papa Smithy here, and our whole production team, thank you so much for watching, and make sure you tune in on the 1st of April. That is this Wednesday for our first semi-final.